But the reality is that I feel like there are things that are hindering the gospel from being seen. That's the point.
Yeah.
The point is that the gospel is being buried under our preferences, our attitudes and mindsets. And, we are, in essence, holding people back from seeing the true reality of what Christ offers and what the gospel is. All right. Thank you so much for tuning into the Church Dropout. My name is Alan. I am joined by
Lisa.
Church Dropout is a podcast. We talk about issues, topics, and teachings related to faith, life, and culture in ways that are sometimes funny, sometimes serious, but always insightful. If you have not already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below. Keep the conversation moving forward. So in case you're wondering why I got a beanie on, it's in a short sleeve shirt.
The two don't go.
They don't go together. It's because, you would see my George Jefferson, my hair growing back, and I didn't feel like shaving it this morning. So
you don't have to give your business. It's all good.
It's all good, I told you I'm gonna show up with a man, wig.
No, you're not.
Man piece. Yeah.
No, you're not. Y'all don't have to worry. It's not happening.
Okay.
It's not happening.
Try me if you want to.
Okay.
Or when the dudes do the spray on thing, they just spray in the lines.
You wouldn't even know where to go, babe, because you don't even go to like a shop. You do your own. You cut your own hair.
Yeah, but I mean, all the shops do it now.
I doubt in our little city there's somebody that does it and does it good.
Well, okay, doing it good is that's a whole different.
Well, you see,
compartment.
Just stay where you are.
That wasn't the standard you brought. You said I probably wouldn't be able to get it done, and I was like, yeah, I can get it done. I didn't say I can get it done good.
There's probably a YouTube video that shows how you can do it
Is.
yourself.
Yeah, I've seen some.
Just like I'm about to braid my hair, and I'm about to braid it myself.
Okay. All right now. Don't mess up and then be like, I need to go get it done.
Go
somewhere.
get it fixed.
Go get it fixed. All right. So I seen a video. I'm not going to play it because it just really wasn't worth playing it. Didn't give a whole lot of information, but it did get me thinking about, the church and, I guess to sum it up as a question, does the church have a PR problem? The church have a PR problem. And the video that I saw was just a kind of a man on the street thing, which I do want to do. I am going to do. I'm going to do it. Right. But yeah, it was kind of a man on the street thing where he was asking questions about, what people thought about the church and stuff like that. And I thought it was pretty interesting. And I kind of just wanted to talk about that a little bit, does the church have a PR problem? From your perspective, if you were a non-Christian, looking at the church, having some understanding of what the church is, I don't know. But if you're a non-Christian looking at the church, how would you view the church? Like, what would you think about the church? Obviously this has to do with different walks, backgrounds, and all of that type of stuff. But yeah, like what would be your thoughts?
Like if I'm a non-Christian? That's what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, it's hard to think that way.
That's true. So yeah, so just answer it however you can answer it.
But this will kind of let you know that the church has a problem when you have to research a church and you have to, like I feel like if the goal is that the church should be Bible based, you know what I mean? Like, why are we having to research? Okay, does this church do this? Does this church do that? Does this? All that shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? But because so many churches, believe this and don't believe this, believe this and don't believe that. It makes it so hard to know. Okay, am I in the right church? You know what I mean? Because if you're living this life and this is your life, you want to make sure that you're doing it right. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that you're, in the right space to where someone's going to actually feed you and help you grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like if you have to take the time to research, okay, make sure that this church is right, and this isn't just they only believe just this portion of the Bible. It shouldn't be like that.
Yeah. So even just outside of, I guess what you're saying, even outside of just understanding what right doctrine is, true doctrine, all of that type stuff, just the inconsistency in how we hold these beliefs and how the world sees us holding these beliefs that people actually need to kind of research before they can walk into a space and I agree with you 110%. Yeah. And I think that kind of goes on, like what I don't know what order these things will be released, but we were speaking about before when I was saying about doctrinal statements, like they had use in the past, and I think they still do today, but they had use in the past where you put your doctrinal statement up. It was meant to help people to understand what the church is for or about. Now it's the opposite, right? It's almost there to explain who to keep out. You know what I mean? Like if you don't believe these things the way we believe them,
right,
this is not a place for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Which is crazy, because if you have a non-believer that's looking for a church, then of course they don't believe the things that you believe, but they're trying to find out.
Right.
They're trying to learn.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And then there are other Christians too, right? I mean, again, most of the stuff that we speak about in our doctrinal statements don't really have a lot to do with what's integral to the Christian faith, right? Things outside of the nature, personhood of God, and salvation and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff that comes after that is just things that are, I don't want to say because they're important. They're just not primary issues.
Right.
I remember we joined a community, and this was a Reformed community, and we weren't and aren't Reformed. And they didn't even have it in it wasn't on their website.
That they were a Reformed church.
Yeah, that they were a Reformed church. It came through through conversation and understanding.
Yeah.
That this was their view of salvation, particular view of salvation. And so I'm saying that to say, like, when we learned that was after a few times visiting. They weren't overbearing in the messages or anything like that. They were teaching the gospel, teaching Jesus. And I wouldn't have known fully without conversations, but because I was learned, I kind of had an indication of some things. But I just say that to say that, I agree with you. I think that's huge. Kind of piggybacking on that, I think one of the things that I see is kind of related to that is like, it's bad when we have to explain what we mean by Christian. You understand what I'm saying? Like non-believer says, "Hey, you're a Christian," and you gotta, yeah, I'm a Christian, but this is what is meant by that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not, you can't just say you're a Christian anymore.
Right.
Because that word has come to mean so many things that aren't really related to being a Christian, right? It's become a cultural idea, right? And yeah, you got to explain to people. Like, you got to explain. You know what? I just need to check something because. Check. Okay. For some reason, I just felt like mine was a little bit low, and I was like, okay, if this is not recording, we're done. We've just, I was going to be so mad, but yeah, I feel like it's bad now. You have to explain to non-Christians what it means to be a Christian. Yeah. That word just has no significance or cultural value in terms of what a Christian really is. Right. I mean, in its basic things, like, meaning like, oh, you're a Christian. Are you a Christian? You're like, yeah, I'm a Christian, and it's like, you almost got to ask, well, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean by Christian? You can't make the assumption any longer.
Yeah.
That Christian means something. I don't know if you ever could, but you definitely can't make the assumption nowadays that to be a Christian means that you are a Bible believing Christian, because it has so many different, meanings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the church has a huge PR problem. I just think that the church is totally, I won't say misunderstood, because I think it's the reputation that I think we've built. I do think that the church lacks love. And I'm not talking about love that doesn't include truth, because we need to tell the truth as Christians. I think how we tell that truth is very important. The story we tell, because there are truths that are related to our faith. However, I don't think the world sees it that way.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, I think the world, looks at the church as, standing against things rather than being for certain things. You understand what I'm saying? So they see fences more than they see, hands of, receptivity. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the church is against this. You see what I'm saying? And it's not whether or not it's true. It's their perception of the church, and how we've actually expressed some of those things. Like, I don't know, like, I almost feel like it's good enough for us as Christians for people to know what we think is right or wrong without even understanding the context or pretext to that right or wrong. We just care about people knowing, oh, okay, well, Christians aren't for, same-sex, relationships, and we're good with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, and we'll picket for that.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But we have no regard for the persons that are actually, engaging in those things.
Right.
It's not a conversation. It's not it's more of, this is what we believe it or not, take it or leave it. This is what it is.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Where our evangelism has become banners of truth, and opposed to conversations that include Jesus, or conversations around Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we're talking about American Christianity in particular, but, I don't know. I just feel like the church is just the way that the world sees the church. And these are from conversations, that I've had with people, that the church just, the reputation of the church has failed. And it's not about being liked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not about people liking the church, because people don't necessarily like truth. None of us do, So it's not about a reputation in terms of, do people like the church? But when Jesus says that his greatest demonstration of love to the world was him dying in place of sinners. The selflessness, the sacrifice, the others centeredness, the love of enemy, as the enemy love that the scripture portrays to move forward, the care and compassion even above the law and different things of that sort. Like, these aren't things that Christians stand on today. And unfortunately, I think it's adversely affected the reputation of the church in the world.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. Why are you looking like that?
Why are you looking like that? You hungry. And I can see it on your face.
I really am.
But you a Christian though. You a follower of Jesus. You're only supposed to live by the bread that proceeds out of the mouth of God. You don't need no physical bread right now.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
You just need to go read your Bible.
Oh, okay. I will.
While I'm
eating.
Yeah, But yeah, I don't know. I would love to hear what you guys think. I just feel like, again, this is not pandering. This is not, the church caring about or Christians caring about how the world sees it. I know that there will always be opposition, that, the church is not going to be popular by any example. But the reality is that I feel like there are things that are hindering the gospel from being seen. That's the point.
Yeah.
The point is that the gospel is being buried under our preferences, our attitudes and mindsets. And, we are, in essence, holding people back from seeing the true reality of what Christ offers and what the gospel is. That's the point. The point is to clarify, that Jesus is good, and that God is good, and that Jesus' work and what he has accomplished is for all, right? And the only peace that's afforded to mankind is the peace that's found in Jesus. And I just feel like a lot of what we are demonstrating today is outside of that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not Christianity. It's just not Christianity. I mean, when you got people talking about killing immigrants, and I probably shouldn't have said that. You got people, talking about killing people or hurting people, certain lifestyles, or, cheering on ISIS as they're pulling families, and like, even if you agree with the politic, the things that are being done, I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah.
And this is not just political. I mean, this is very practical, right? The level of consumerism of Christians today, our infatuation with buildings, and how much money is in the Christian industrial complex. How there are people who are starving and don't have food, while the Christian industry is a multi-trillion-dollar, industry, and churches are making millions of dollars a year, but people are still struggling. And this comes down even into the personal aspect of us as Christians. But this is what the world sees. When there's a disaster that happens in, let's just say, the United States, the expectation is that the government is going to help, not the church. It's not even an expectation.
Right.
People turn to the Red Cross. They don't turn to the Church of the Living God.
Yeah.
Hurricane hits, and, you got Joel Osteen in their church. They don't want people. They don't want to open up their church to people who are displaced. Like, it's the craziest stuff in the world.
Yeah.
The church has a PR problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I forgot who said it. I think it was a guy named Alan Hirsch, I believe. He says, when it comes to modern day Christianity, he says the founder is no longer found in his invention, in his community. Like, the founder is no longer found here. It's no longer about Jesus. We've made it about everything else.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just some thoughts. Any final words, babe?
No, I think that's pretty good.
All right. Well, we'll get you some bread, because you sitting up there famished, like you can't talk anymore. Oh, Jesus.
Babe, you know how I get when I'm hungry.
I know.
Hungry or sleepy. It's those two are uncontrollable.
Yeah, especially when you say hungry. That's a different type.
Did I say hungry?
You did. That's a whole different type of famished.
See, I can't even talk right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, all right, y'all. We would love to hear your thoughts on this. If you feel it, if you're not feeling it, or, if you are talking to people and you're having to overcome objections that are not related to the gospel. right? You know, the objections that people have to the Christian faith are not even related to the gospel. You got to tear down ideas before we could even begin to talk about Jesus. The gospel, you know, so, but anyway, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I don't know. That one almost took me out. Alan died by hiccup.
Oh my gosh.
Brother died by hiccup. But yeah, drop a comment below. Keep the conversation moving forward. And we out.
Good night.
Why are you smiling at me?